The last blow rang along the practice blade and shivered up his arms. He held it. Barely. The captain had come in low and fast, the old wooden sword turning in her hands as if it weighed nothing at all. A year ago the strike would have taken his legs from under him. 6 months ago he would have stumbled back in panic. Today he met it. Boots grinding into the dust, shoulders burning, wrists screaming with the shock of impact. But he held it, arms braced, just right. He felt satisfaction at a move performed perfectly. For a heartbeat, neither of them moved. Then she stepped back. "Good," she said. It was not a word she wasted. He lowered the practice blade slowly, trying not to show how hard he was breathing. Sweat crawled down the side of his face. His shoulder throbbed where she had struck him twice already in the same place, to teach him that a clever enemy remembered weakness. "Again?" he asked. "No." That surprised him more than the strike had. She turned away and walked toward the water bucket beside the fence. The training yard sat behind the old house, hemmed by a low stone wall and a line of wind-bent trees. Beyond them, the hills rolled blue beneath the late afternoon sky. It was a peaceful place. Violence always seemed faintly obscene here. The captain drank, then poured water over her wrists and the back of her neck. Her hair, more iron than black now, was tied tight against her skull. There were days when she merely looked old. There were others when she looked like something that had survived being broken and never properly mended. "You slowed," he said. "No. You let me stop the line." "I chose the line," she replied. "You held it." He should have felt pride at that. Instead, the praise sat uneasily in him. He looked down at the practice sword. The edge was scarred and notched from years of use. His hands had grown around its weight. She had taught him balance, distance, timing, how to use mud, walls, darkness, and fear, how to watch hands instead of eyes, how tired men died faster than wounded ones. And she had taught him to never avoid asking a question, merely because he feared the answer. So he asked the question that had always loomed huge in his mind. Why did they come to my village? The captain did not move. The question had lived inside him for years, changing shape as he grew older. As a child, it had been simple. Why did the bad men come? Later, who sent them? And later still, what were they looking for? Now it had become something harder, something with edges. Who told you they were looking for something? She asked quietly. No one. Then why ask it that way? He shrugged, though there was no ease in it. Villages aren't destroyed for nothing. A raven called somewhere beyond the wall. The captain set the cup down carefully. No, she said at last, they are not. The wind stirred the trees. He waited. She remained facing away from him for several moments longer, shoulders still, hands resting lightly on the rim of the bucket. When she finally turned, her face was composed, but too composed, like armor strapped on over an old wound. You know the soldiers came, she said. Yes. And we found each other afterward. Yes. And I told you there were orders. He nodded slowly. Whose orders? The Queen's. The witch queen? Yes. Something tightened in his chest. What orders? To search the outlying settlements, villages, farms, shrine houses, charcoal camps, anything isolated. She paused. We were searching for a child. He stared at her. Me? Yes. I think now that it was you that I was ordered to find. The words fell flatly between them, not triumphant, not dramatic, heavy. You knew? He asked. Not then, not your name, not your face. A slight pause. Only that a child was wanted. And you obeyed. Her eyes met his. Yes. No defense, no excuse, just the truth laid bare between them. Anger flickered suddenly through him. Why? The captain looked down at her wet hands. Because I was an officer of the crown, she said, because the order bore the Queen's seal, because I was told the child was dangerous. Her mouth tightened slightly, because I believed what it was convenient to believe. Convenient? The word came out harsher than he intended. That's what my village died for? No. This time the answer cracked, not loudly, but enough. She drew a slow breath. Your village died because I failed. The yard seemed to narrow around him. What does that mean? For the first time since the question began, the captain hesitated. Not evasively, like someone reaching into fire because there was no other choice. When she spoke again, her voice was quieter. It means I commanded the troop that entered your village. He heard the words, understood them, and yet they seemed to arrive from very far away. You? He said. She nodded once. He took an involuntary step backward. The practice sword slipped slightly in his hand. My soldiers breached the village, she said. My soldiers dragged people from their homes. My soldiers set fires. Her gaze did not leave his face. My soldiers lost discipline. And you? He felt sick. The captain looked at him for a long moment. Then she said, I commanded them. That is not an answer. It is the only one that matters. No. His voice rose despite himself. Did you kill them? A flicker passed across her face then, gone almost instantly. I killed men that day. My people. Yes. The word struck him harder than if she had shouted it. His grip tightened around the practice sword until his knuckles whitened. Did you kill my mother? No. My father? No. Did you see them die? No. Then who did? The captain's jaw worked once before she answered. I do not know. He laughed then, a short, ugly sound. You don't know? She shook her head. You don't know who murdered my family? No. The fury came suddenly after that, hot and blinding. He took 2 fast steps toward her before he realized he had moved at all. You trained me, he said. You fed me. You watched me ask about them. Yes. You let me think. I let you live. The words stopped him. Not because they were cruel. Because they were not. The captain stood motionless before him, neither defensive nor proud, only tired in a way that seemed older than age. And I have no right, she said quietly, to place that against the rest. Silence spread between them. He could hear the creak of branches overhead, the rasp of his own breathing. Why tell me now? He asked. You asked the right question. I've asked before. No, she shook her head faintly. You asked why you survived. You asked who hunted you. You asked what you were. Her eyes held his. Today you asked why the village was destroyed. He swallowed hard, a rushing in his ears, his vision narrowing. He was aware he spoke. And if I hadn't? A long pause, like a pit opening in front of him. I would have told you. When? When silence stopped being mercy. The word twisted inside him. Mercy? She looked away then, out toward the hills beyond the wall. I thought you deserved some part of your childhood untouched by me. You were all of it. Yes. That hurt more than anything else she had said. He wanted her to defend herself, to argue, to justify, to insist she had no choice. Instead, she stood there accepting every blow he placed upon her. You should have told me. Yes, you should have died there. The captain closed her eyes briefly. Maybe. Yes. The answer horrified him. Not because it was dramatic, because he believed she meant it. He lowered the practice sword slightly. Defend yourself, he said. No. Tell me you tried to stop them. I did. Then say it properly. This time something flared briefly in her voice. Anger. I tried to stop them. The words echoed across the yard and vanished into the trees. He stared at her. Did you? The captain looked at the ground between them. Not soon enough. The rage went out of him then, leaving only exhaustion. She spoke again, quieter now. When discipline failed, I failed. She rubbed absently at an old scar on one wrist. An officer does not hand blame downward merely because others carried out the act. He swallowed. Who gave the first order? The Queen ordered the searches. No. His voice roughened. At the village. The captain became very still. Finally, she said, I ordered the breach. The truth landed between them like an axe. To search the houses? Yes. And when people resisted? I ordered restraint. But they didn't obey. No. Because you lost control. A long silence. Then, yes. He turned away from her. The sun had slipped low now, shadows stretching long across the training yard. What am I supposed to do with this? He asked. I don't know. You always know, he said bitterly. No. He laughed again, but this time it almost broke apart into something else. Behind him, the captain said quietly, You may leave if you wish. He looked back sharply. You may take coin, food, weapons, a horse. Her expression did not change. I will not stop you. And if I kill you? The captain met his gaze steadily. A prisoner awaiting sentence. I will not stop you. He stared at her in disbelief. That's cowardice. A faint shake of the head. No. The cowardice was silence. His eyes burned suddenly. He turned away before she could see it, though he knew she already had. After a while, she spoke again. There is more. He gave a hollow laugh. Of course there is. The Queen searched for you because you were a threat to her. She was obsessed. The captain's voice had become distant now, as though she were looking backward through years. She wanted you dead long before your village ever saw my banners. He wiped angrily at his face. So it was her. Yes, and you. A pause. Yes. The simplicity of it was unbearable. At last he looked back at her. Without rank, without armor, without command, she suddenly seemed smaller somehow, not weaker, merely human. I want to hate one person, he said. I know. I want this to be simple. It isn't. That doesn't help. No. He looked at the sword in his hand for a long moment. Then he threw it into the dust between them. The captain did not flinch. I can't look at you right now, he said. I know. He walked toward the gate. At the latch he stopped. If I go after her, he said without turning, the Queen... Behind him, the captain waited silently. I'll need soldiers. The pause that followed seemed to stretch across years. Yes, she said at last. Not excuses, not regret. Soldiers. Yes, and you'll get them. The wind moved softly through the trees. Finally, the captain bowed her head. If you ask it of me, she said. His hand tightened on the iron latch. I'm not asking. For the first time since the conversation began, something like sorrow moved openly across the captain's face. No, she said quietly. I suppose you are not. He opened the gate and walked out into the evening, leaving her alone in the fading light beside the fallen practice sword and the truth she had finally spoken aloud.